Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GAC Group 2015 ITTF World Tour. This is the Polish Open, a major series on the World Tour. I'm Adam Bobrow, and this is the beautiful crowd with you in Warsaw, Poland. Table tennis fans from all over Poland, and that guy in the blue shirt is loving this. Table tennis pros here, coming from all over. Again, league players, club players, but the two best players on court right now. One is a big surprise to be here from Austria in the blue jumpsuit. Stefan FEGERL, the 23rd seed in this tournament, world rank number 42, has pulled off several upsets to be here. Took out Marcos Freitas, the ASCAPro Anything Player of the Week. And Jike, the man in question, world rank number 4, the 4th seed in this tournament, 8th in the race to Lisbon, 27 years old, and the pressure is really on this man right here. Jike tends to wake up a little bit late in the match. A little bit. Our umpires right now for this men's singles semifinal. Head umpire, Rainer Hoffmann from Germany, and from England, Alexander Mercer, our assistant umpire. So the real question is, who's it gonna be for the Olympics? For China, Zhang Jike has been known to have ice in his veins, to be calm and cool when the pressure is on. The most dominant player in the world right now, Ma Long, had to exit this tournament due to neck injury, which is said to be credited to his celebration from the World Cup last week in Sweden. He did a backwards somersault. Everything seemed to be fine. ITTF on the Instagram posted a picture of him, said, "Don't worry, no injury." But sometimes with the neck, it comes out later, much like a car accident. And after playing Tomokazu Harimoto, the 12-year-old from Japan, the sensation who had a TV crew following him here, Ma Long realized that his neck wasn't in good shape and he just shouldn't continue playing the tournament. So Zhang Jike has dropped several games. His opening match to Benjamin Bozier from France, lost the first 2 games in that match. Had a very close match with defending, well, the defender, I guess, the thrill from Japan, Masato Shiono. Some of the best points we've seen in this tournament until today. The last women's singles semifinal, simply incredible. We've had 2 7-game matches that are both going to be they're both worth rewatching on ITTF's website. That's ittf.com/ITTV. You can see all the camera matches from tables 1 and 2 of the past several days in this tournament, and the matches that have been televised so far today. So Zhang Jike has suffered some injuries. Again, he's 27 years old, senior of the 4 big players from the Chinese national team. You've got 27 years old, followed by 26 for Ma Long, 25 for Xu Xin, and 18 for Fan Zhendong, who will be waiting in the next match to play against Xu Xin, the most entertaining player in the game. Another match to watch if you haven't seen Xu Xin versus Wang Chunting from yesterday. It was all the Xu Xin show. Trick shots left and right. To get here, Zhang Jike, let's start with Stefan FEGERL because he's on screen right now. FEGERL pulled off the upset. The first round, he managed to beat Victor Brod of Sweden 4-0. That was not the upset, but 4-2 over Marcos Freitas. And he was driving Freitas off the table point after point. Following that, an upset over Tong Peng from Hong Kong, 4-0, 11-9 in the 4th. And then Matthias Carlsen, who had an incredible tournament, has been having quite a strong year. Carlsen took down Yan An, but couldn't get through Stefan FEGERL. It was a 7-game match. 5-2 they switched in game 7, and then a timeout. And Stefan FEGERL scored many points in a row to take the lead and win 11-7, so he's in good form out here. But this is going to be a test, a whole different level. Zhang Jike. The close to the table attacks. Zhang Jike has been managing to stay cool throughout matches, as I mentioned before. And as many people have seen his excessive celebrations out there, extravagant celebrations. It's all the coolness that he keeps staying strong for so long. Finally a chance to let loose after the tournament. But first he has to get through this match. Head-to-head, Stefan FEGERL and Zhang Jike have only faced off once. It was at the World Championships, the World Team Championships in Tokyo 2014 last year. It was a 3-0 victory for Zhang Jike. This, on the other hand, is a best-of-7 match. We'll see how Zhang Jike's motivation kicks in here. Starting off. Again, FEGERL with excellent control. Zhang Jike stretching. Again, this is sort of a welcome back tournament for him. He's been out for injury for a little bit. He's had a few recurring injuries throughout the Chinese Super League and on the World Tour this season. Step around forehand, clips the top of the net. First point for Zhang Jike. Two nets in a row, but FEGERL recovers and blocks it right down the line. Zhang Jike's leg strength, uncanny, unmatched. So he's gonna have no trouble getting to some of these balls. Hits it behind Zhang Jike, reads the spin, no problem. A very bold forehand attack from FEGERL. Confident to say the least. That ball's low to the net. FEGERL makes it look like practice. Again, the backhand down the line, doesn't turn the body, just uses the wrist. Zhang Jike has no way to see where that one's going. Now remember, the backhand receive yesterday, the over-the-table kill shot from FEGERL was quite effective against Carlsen. Missed contact from FEGERL. Spinning over the table receive from Zhang Jike. Little break off the edge from Zhang Jike, and it's tied up at 3 points each. So far, Zhang Jike has had 2 nets and an edge, although only one of those 2 nets has won him the points. Right at the back edge of the table, Zhang Jike making a bold and confident shot, but even bolder, FEGERL counters it right back again. The amount of spin on the ball coming from Zhang Jike is a whole different level. FEGERL having to calibrate. Overlifting on the counter loop from the forehand side. Seemed a bit unclear on what he wanted to do with that shot. Leaping shots, but just missing the short corner of the table. Best rally so far. Counter loop rally working the middle. Hooking shot wide out to the forehand. Zhang Jike quick to get there. I'm surrounded by Zhang Jike supporters. Chinese fans in the crowd. Well placed again, deep behind Zhang Jike. Tied up at 5 points each. Big side spin and top with that banana over the table. FEGERL seems quite liquid. Very loose out there, versatile in his receives. He's played that receive for power, puts a little more spin and placement on it this time. Sees the opportunity, just missing the contact. Serves pretty low. FEGERL can make that shot. That's going to be quite intimidating for Jike. Although that doesn't seem to be a word that implies or really applies to Jike. Doesn't seem to be scared by much or phased. Keeps his focus well, even if it starts late in the match. Well-placed receive right into the body. FEGERL jammed. Jike, the favorite to win this match. FEGERL needs to take the first game. You can see him setting up for the forehand there and then having to try and cross over and recover. Miss hit on the backhand. It's interesting imagining the inner dialogue of Jike. Spinny shot coming at him a little slowly. The balance between a punch shot and a ripping spin shot from the backhand side. And a few backhands in a row have been trouble for Jike. We've seen about 3 or 4 so far this game that haven't landed. Really just a slingshot with that backhand, quick tuck and snaps through it. But FEGERL's got a lot of topspin and a high arc on that ball. Inside out forehand, watches it carefully, uses the side spin to his advantage and puts it behind Jike. Watch this again. Over the table, just a step in, full stroke inside the ball. Out of all the serves I referenced for deceptive contact throughout the years, Stefan FEGERL's serve, that one you just saw, I probably referenced more than anybody's serve. At the point of contact, drops the racket. Sometimes it's dead. Sometimes it's heavy underspin. Sets himself up at the receive. Doesn't set FEGERL up for a good third ball attack, playing a little passively. A serve that FEGERL has that's been quite effective throughout this tournament as well is the side top from the reverse pendulum. He varies that spin with very subtle motions. But now it's Jike who has the last 2 serves. This game we'll see. And after all that pressure, FEGERL gets back the tough one, but can't manage to work his way back in to get the attack. Still a little bit too passive. When the pressure's on, has to be bold and take the attack. The second to last shot, Jike leaping. Some side spin and top spin from the forehand side. Game point for Jike. 3 in a row now to get him to where he is now. Serve comes too long. It's off the edge of the racket. Would not be surprised if the ball's cracked after that shot. FEGERL recognizes it's coming off the table, not by a lot. But again, knows the table well, takes a full swing at it. So we're at deuce in game 1. This time takes more initiative, knows he's got to put the pressure on, and the third ball does exactly that and takes the point for it. Not an easy opportunity, but if he plays passively, Jike will take advantage. Another game point for FEGERL. Can't attack it in the over-the-table banana flip. Jike, lots of snap on that wrist. top of the net. FEGERL deep in the backcourt. Manages to counter the big opening attack. Not an easy ball. Side spin left on it. Rhythm broken there, and FEGERL a little bit out of form. Because there was no net, high spinny ball, just the rhythm was changed. Big backhand opening over the table again. This is the bread and butter for FEGERL. One of the key ingredients here. Someone in the crowd behind me cheering. Fans looking at me. Of course, I'm not in a position to be cheering for players on the court. Third deuce point. Fourth towel break, no towel used. There it is, the reverse pendulum, a bit of topspin, deceptive. Jike doesn't read it properly, and that's the best third ball opportunity FEGERL's had in a long time. Places it right on the body for the attack. Game point FEGERL. Not able to get the attack in, plays for the push. Looked like he was looking for the flip opportunity. Again, gonna have to be bold, go for the attacks whenever he can, stay on the attack. Oh, and he earns the third ball again. This time it was a dead serve. Jike misreads it and pops it up and gets a break here. That's FEGERL all day long. You can see in the body language, he knows he's got to take that point. Game point for Jike. Innovative shot, the touch with some side spin out wide to FEGERL's forehand, but can't pull off the second touch shot in a row. We're at the fifth deuce point. Look at that, reverse pendulum serve. There's the soft touch out wide. Tries for a bit of a side spin chop. Change of pace, FEGERL spinning it a little softer. Jike a little bit behind the ball, and it's another game point for FEGERL. Timeout for FEGERL. In game one, this is the importance. It just goes to show you how important it is for FEGERL to take game one in this match. The difference in level between the top Chinese players in the world and everyone else is drastic. And FEGERL's been practicing a lot. Werner Schlager Academy, the Chinese practice partners. The Austrian level high again. European team champions this year. FEGERL, the silent partner, one of the top three out there. Tends to deliver, but is having the best tournament I've seen from him in quite some time out here. Personally, I think anything he can do to get that backhand flip into play on this receive, take the opening attack, is going to be effective. We'll see what he gets for a serve. So Jike against game point in the timeout. FEGERL still taking his time. And he doesn't step in, he doesn't go for the backhand on the forehand side, tries to play a soft receive. Little trouble reading the spin, pops it up. Jike's backhand opening too strong. Sixth deuce point in game one, timeout diffused. backhand attack, another game point for FEGERL. We've seen some high deuces, but as far as TV matches go, this is the highest one this tournament. There it is, the aggression, taking the ball over the table, and he takes the game 17-15. What a first game of the match. ZHANG Jike now down 0-1. We'll see how game 2 goes and if FEGERL can keep it up after this short break. So we're back for game 2. ZHANG Jike trailing 0-1. FEGERL pulling out an epic first game, 17-15. Still in form to start off game 2. Again, the key ingredient is going to be aggression from FEGERL. He's got the power and the control. Gets the first backhand in. Second powerful one. Pretty low shot. Extremely low. The first one as well didn't graze the net. You can hear the effort out here from Stefan FEGERL. A few punch shots, some turning forehand loops, grunting to stay in control. ZHANG Jike a few steps behind, still very comfortable bringing it back deep on the table. Driven back off the table. ZHANG Jike's too good with the angles. We've seen him play lobbers, defensive players, and he can hit it inside out. Pick his placement on the table, get it off the side. Now it's interesting from a service toss standpoint. If it were the World Cup last week in Sweden, FEGERL would have been called for these serves. But again, professionals trying to be borderline with their service toss. And all that leg strength from ZHANG Jike really pays off to get him wide to the forehand. Step around, he manages to take a shot, leap back with spring in his step to recover. Just long, ZHANG Jike taking it out of the air. Once the ball's missed the table, it's clear who the point belongs to. You could see the opportunities that he was looking for, FEGERL, to try to come back into the table. Takes a step in, and quickly it goes the opposite way. As far as the different skill sets from the world top players, ZHANG Jike tends to play a very smart game. Powerful backhand. One of the best backhands in the world. A lot of people look at ZHANG Jike and Ma Long's backhands. Crowd quite split on who's got the best backhand in the world. Some extra side spin on that reverse pendulum. Hearing some chuckles from the crowd. Maybe thought the serve was questionable. Now just a 1-point game. FEGERL coming back in. And it's tied back up at 5 points each. Now we've seen Jike come back from down 0-2 against Benjamin Brosier in the opening round. But FEGERL's a different player with a different skill set. And this time Jike tries to play the opposite side of the table, to the short side. Spin variation from FEGERL. And a little bit more difficult to play the short side of the table, less margin for error. Serve has been effective, but not 3 in a row. Got the last 2 points before with it. It's funny watching him rehearse it. Almost looked as if he was saying to himself, man, you got to hide it more. Again, from where the umpires are sitting, it's very difficult to see. You can see the free arm, but it's tough to see the body. Also tough to tell if the ball's falling behind the head. Excellent shot. Jike sees that FEGERL's looking to turn the corner and then hits it right down the line on the forehand side. FEGERL's setting up a little bit too much on the backhand, but it's difficult against Jike. He can hit that wide inside-out shot for a winner to the backhand side as well. Just long on the counter. Managed to get the first one back, recovered the top of the net. That is unfortunate for FEGERL. The second time he's had a high ball near the net. Just missed his contact. Looked like he tried to get a little fancy with it on the inside-out contact. Now 4 game points for Jike.
Net 10-6.
Break off the top of the net for the point and the game. 11-6. Jike ties it up at 1 game apiece. We'll see if FEGERL can continue to fight. Game 3 just after this short break. We're back for game 3 of the men's singles semifinals, tied up at 1 game each. To our viewers in Mexico, hope all is going well. Got Mexican team player Salvador Uribe from Guadalajara next to me right now. Loop goes long. FEGERL's gonna have to make it when he gets the opportunities before Jike puts the pressure on. FEGERL makes his first 2 attacks strong. Jike again playing like a wall, keeping it deep on the table. Just sort of pushing back forward, keeping some top spin on the ball, not necessarily adding to it. Outstanding point, the best one yet. FEGERL all over the court, counter looping. When Jike initiates, the heat gets turned up. But FEGERL could stay in the kitchen, managing to bring these back, leaping both feet in the air for these counter loops, and then plays it right on the body to the middle of the table, a little bit shorter side of the table. Deception, a little after motion there on his inside out serve. Reverse pendulum, but he stays right down the line with the backhand. And suddenly it's tied back up at 3 points each. Smart combination play again. Jike comes in for the short forehand with the backhand, is going to back up to cover the deep backhand corner. Fast long into the body, surprises FEGERL. You can hear FEGERL grunting to get back up into position for this shot. Short side of the table opens up for Jike, and he takes the opportunity. FEGERL playing with the pace at that point. Some soft shots and then snapping in every once in a while. You saw a few punch backhands there, but not enough lift. A little bit of a flatter ball coming out wide to his forehand, and FEGERL finding the net. Heavy underspin on that shot. Gets the break. Jike not lifting enough. Long serve, looks like it's kicking, but it's got underspin on it. Mostly side, just enough to fool Jike. Heavy underspin and a beautiful backhand from over the table. Jike sends the crowd into ooh mode. Hope we get to see, here it is, the replay. Over the table, no problem. Jike, such a short, fast stroke. A little bit of side spin, inside out over the table. The heavy foot stomp. FEGERL puts it deep on the table. Light spin. Well, the receive strong. It's the point before that's in the memory of everybody here, reminding us why it seems unlikely that we're not expecting FEGERL to get through Jike. The backhand's over the table. But right now, dead even at 6 each. Again, the contact is subtle. Heavy underspin. This time, Jike tries to play it down the line. Backhand to backhand. FEGERL swatting at it like bees. But it just comes down behind the table. Short stroke there from FEGERL, right at the baseline of the table. The aggressive backhand opening, that's what he's got to do, but Jike anticipates and counters it back from deep in the forehand. An unusual shot. Jike fans the elbow up just to stay on top of it for a short reactionary stroke to that receive from FEGERL. Completely fooled. FEGERL anticipates short to the forehand side. Jike serves it half long to the backhand, and FEGERL has to backtrack a bit. Follow-up shot, a bit haphazard. Sort of a flat swat at the ball. FEGERL putting the muscle and energy in, but overdoes it. It's 10-7, Jike with 3 game points. Serve drifts a little long, but stays near the baseline, and the spin was tough to read for Jike as he overshoots it. Again, short side of the table, less margin for error. So 1 game point saved by FEGERL. Just missing on the counter. A strong rally and a good fight, but game 3 goes to Jike. 2-1. We'll be back for game 4 after this short break. And we're back for game 4. Jike stretching it out to stay loose. Again, a lot of lunging and fast footwork leads to lower back strain from time to time. So FEGERL down 1-2, but takes the first point in game 4. Heavy spin left out in front of ZHANG. Instead of moving in, tries to lean in. Typically, players are going to be keeping their loops as deep on the table as possible. And that serve looks like it's going to kick. Not a lot of topspin on it, but quite the contrary. Light underspin. FEGERL delivering it deep on the table. Gives it the illusion that it's got topspin. Just missing on the recovery after the grunting step around shot. Now he can keep that ball in play, of course he wants to, but the pressure to make it wide enough on the forehand side. This is the threat of ZHANG. Touch game over the table. FEGERL quick to get it off the bounce. Strong backhand opening, but it comes right back. And even though FEGERL had a 4-1 lead, there's still this feeling like we'll believe it when it's 9-4 in game 7 for FEGERL. Right now, still early in the match. Change of pace, keeping it deep on the table. A little bit soft though. This is sort of the calming place that ZHANG goes to. Edge tape, edge of the rubber. No problem. Sees it clearly in slow motion and loops it cross court. Ball's not coming back. Lu Guoliang in the corner. These are two Grand Slam champions. Lu Guoliang and ZHANG, 2 of 4. Both involved with this match right now. So a 4-1 lead disintegrated, now 5 points each. ZHANG is tied back up. Smart play from FEGERL. Soft block until he has the opportunity to counter it with some power from the backhand. Timing and shot selection, 2 very important ingredients in every match. Again, smart play, covering the middle with the forehand even when he needs to. FEGERL getting right back in position. Blocking it deep enough on the table that he waits for the opportunity to really assert himself. That last ball put a little more pace on with the backhand. At the second towel break, Stefan FEGERL leading 7 points to 5 over ZHANG. unusual attempt. Tries to go for a fast push out to the forehand, finds the middle of the net. Almost looked like a chop smash on the receive. Strong play from FEGERL, keeps him pinned in the backhand court, sees the opening on the forehand side, but drives Jike away from the table with full force. Fast block, then turns and counters, right back into the table. Fast shot right into the left arm of Jike. FEGERL extending his lead. Getting closer, but still no security, even at 9-6 to send this to a fifth game at 2-2. FEGERL recovers the top of the net shot, but the follow-up attack too strong. Jike's technique, so picture perfect. Really dropped the racket low, full extension, and still recovers for the follow-up backhand shot. Big points right here for both players. But especially for FEGERL, and the pressure is building. The last 2 points in a row Jike has taken. FEGERL needs to get this game. There it is, the initiation. Ball right at the back edge of the table. FEGERL confident again to take the attack at full swing. It's not the first time we've seen this, but it's 2 game points for FEGERL. It's been a while since we've seen the light backspin short to the forehand, the dead serve. Working hard for the money and working hard for that point. 11 points to 8. Stefan FEGERL takes it and ties it up at 2 games each. Again, we'll be watching to see if it gets to a 3-game situation for Stefan FEGERL. But in the meantime, it's tied up, game 5, just after this break. We're back for game 5, tied up at 2 games each. FEGERL fighting life. His life and career depends on it. Back edge of the table, but a fighting point again, starting off game 5 strong. Service variation with the spin. Tough to read. Zhang Jike having a little trouble over the table. And that toss is backwards enough that it goes out of frame. Again, if it hasn't been called, he can get away with it. Backhand to backhand, Zhang Jike is strong, but FEGERL playing stronger right now. Changes it up to the middle of the table to take the point. As well as FEGERL is playing, it won't become real to the audience until he has 3 games. Break off the top of the net, and it stays on the table for 2 bounces. Heavy underspin short to the forehand side, and FEGERL continues his run. 5 points to 0. Again, we've seen greater comebacks. Inside out forehand from Zhang Jike, wide into the backhand court for his first point. FEGERL cannot let this cramp his style or crush his confidence in any way. Needs to stay aggressive here, smart with his timing. And he does it. Brings it right back into play against some pace, softens it up and spins it. High toss serve from Zhang Jike. Heavy spin and blocks back the first opening backhand from Zhang Jike. That is touch. FEGERL keeping it so short, leaving the side spin on the ball. And Zhang Jike eats his own side spin for lunch. Flash photography warning coming out here.
Take pictures of flashlights.
It's actually a person standing right next to the court. Distraction at its highest. Translator from the Chinese team coming in to make sure that the flash message was delivered successfully. Side spin from down below the table from FEGERL sends Zhang Jike way out wide for an opportunity at an around the net shot. But he decides to play it a little safer. This ball right here is a quality shot. Zhang Jike putting backspin on the ball with the forehand. Very unusual shot. If it lands, it's going to be trouble. Inside out forehand for the point. The long stroke steps around and misleads. FEGERL point of the match. Shot block, everything happened there, and Zhang Jike gritting his teeth. Crowd in full applause mode right now. Look at that. Shot block left high, still stays in the point. Talk about keeping your composure. FEGERL staying loose as ever out there. Takes the 9-3 lead. Highlights all over it again. Zhang Jike with some facial expressions we don't see too often. And the crowd knows when they're watching something amazing in the making. FEGERL 2 points away from taking the game. FEGERL staying calm and cool again, blocking the big shots. Amazing the way he straightens up his back, takes all the pace off the ball, and still gets it back into play, just absorbs it. You saw the first shot of that replay. Looks like he was blasted with an air gun. Miss hit and an 11-3 victory. FEGERL going into the 6th game in style. So now it's a serious threat. The crowd watching, and it's time for Jike to wake up and release the beast if he wants to win this match. Game 6 just after this. So we are back for game 6, and we have to blink many times to believe that what we're watching is real. Stefan FEGERL wins 11-3, the most dominant game in this match. The only other game that had less than 8 points by one player was 11-6 for Jike. Again, this is a real test for Jike. This is a chance for him to prove that he's back and ready, that he can represent China at the Olympics. But he's going to have to get through this match. Little break off the top of the net for FEGERL, but still confident opening attack. Banana flip trying for the short side of the table as Jike steps around. Had a chance to chat with some of the fans in the crowd. Chinese supporters saying this is just warm up for Jike. He's got him exactly where he wants him. Big forehand, but even bigger, Jike right off the bounce. And Jike saying, get that flashlight out of here. That's the second photographer to put a light. Photographer right behind the barriers. I don't know if the message has come through. The umpires haven't said anything. Photographer has not been approached. The first photographer was a Chinese photographer, so clearly not a conspiracy against Jike. Or at least it seems less likely, who knows. But Jike firing it up a bit. Jike, the man who performs under pressure. Well, that's right now. The pressure is definitely on. Step around, tangled up at the feet. FEGERL making a few good shots in this rally, but Jike really just dominating. That counter right there, hooking. Jike finding the body, hitting it right at the right shoulder. Soft spinny shot from FEGERL. And at the first towel break, Jike was starting to run away up 4-1. Still early in the game, FEGERL could quickly turn this around. No matter what people say about Jike's condition right now or how fast he does or does not look, FEGERL is playing an incredible match. There's no question about the quality of FEGERL's play. Spinny backhand, but more heat coming back from Jike. A little bit off the top of the net. Quick step around and counter from Jike. There aren't many places on the court where Jike is not dangerous. But that serve, though, FEGERL deep into the backhand, deceives Jike, leaves it on his own side of the table. And a service error. Could the coolest guy in the sport be feeling the pressure right now? It's a timeout. Lu Guoliang's going to have a talk with Jike. Now, as far as history goes, Jike has had some bouts with the Chinese national team. Insubordination, was moved off the A team, the men's national team, years ago before his first attempt at the World Championships, which he succeeded in. But right now, I think Lu Guoliang, one, is fully behind him, of course, but two, is even a fan. You can see the way he addresses him. For anyone who saw the video of Lu Guoliang talking to Xu Xin after Xu Xin toyed around with Wang Chunting yesterday in the quarterfinals, it's quite a different vibe from Lu Guoliang. Maybe even bringing a little humor into it right now for Jike, trying to loosen him up. It's the second time we've seen that tooth grit right there. Trying to keep the serve short, floating it out near the net, but just too close to the net. Might seem a little counterintuitive, but those of you practicing with short serves, first bounce a little bit longer, deeper on the table. So we'll see how the timeout from the legend, Lu Guoliang, affects the present legend, Jike. FEGERL managing to fight it off, keep it deep on the table. The over-the-table flip sets up Jike's inside-out forehand, and FEGERL really seeing it well, anticipating. He was in the middle, setting up in the middle, just recovers. Quick movement back to the backhand side, and it's tied up at 5 each. Service is trouble for Jike. Straight out of the timeout, 2 points have gone to FEGERL. Goes for the counter this time. FEGERL clearly frustrated. Shot selection, the name of the game. Waiting patiently, sees the opportunity to counterattack out wide to the forehand side. Jike sees him going forward as well, tied up at 6 each. Seemed like the real momentum shift was right after the light from the camera. Could that have affected the focus of Jike? Serve comes a little long. FEGERL has the opportunity, but it's loaded with under inside. Yeah, he's got a clear stroke at that ball. He's got to set his feet up a little differently. Comes off longer than he expects it to. Break off the top of the net. Crucial moments. Jike sweating. The struggle out here. Look at this block. Little surprising, Jike's shot missed by so much. Tries to play it safe and spin it back on the table. Just missing the table. FEGERL saw it still had a chance. He's fighting in that point. Several soft blocks, keeping Jang Jike moving back into the table. From down low, takes his opportunity there, opens the attack. Imagine if that had come down and caught the back edge of the table. For Jang Jike to not crumble, it'd just be insane. Although that's the standard he sets under pressure. Again, a deep service with deceptive underspin, and it's tied up at 8 each. This is becoming a real possibility for FEGERL right now. He's got 3 games. He's almost at 9 points. Fronts and counterattack wide to the forehand, earns him the point. FEGERL takes the lead, 2 points away from winning this match. The pressure is on for Jang Jike. This ball right there, a lot of side spin and top. Crowd's starting to chitter chatter. They're about to see a great upset. Half-long serve, caught an indecision. FEGERL left with a lukewarm shot at best, and it's 9-all. Changes his mind, thinks it's gonna come off the table. It's a perfectly placed serve from Jang Jike. Does the game change? Does FEGERL try something different? Does he go back to opening with power? Does he block for placement until the opportunity? His serve has been effective, we'll see. And it's effective again, heavy underspin. It's match point for Stefan FEGERL. A chance to move on to the men's singles finals at a tournament with the best players in the world. Not even Austrian #1, but he has a chance to do the unthinkable right now on his serve, and it's the most threatening serve out there. Backhand goes long. Jang Jike still alive. Deuce in game 6. Everybody in the crowd getting their money's worth right now. Just long. Jang Jike stretching it out, doing his edge tape routine. Outstanding point. The most aggressive chop block we've seen yet from FEGERL, and you could hear the grunts for the first time from Jang Jike. Not a chow, not a fist pump. Just a grunt to get that ball over. Again, the quality of point, incredible out here. Jang Jike earns himself, after saving a match point, earns a game point to send this to the 7th. FEGERL's serve has been trouble for Jang Jike. And it's still trouble. Another receive error. It's been so strong, the service game of FEGERL. Look at this. Looks like heavy backspin, short side of the table, but it's light. Umpire warning the players to come back and play. Applause of the crowd deserved, but only buying a little more time for Jang Jike. And there's a big chole. For a silent player this entire match, that was a scream of a release. High toss, underspin half long to the middle of the table. FEGERL's still in this though. Now against a game point. And a break off the top of the net, deep on the table. Crowd with their hands on their faces cannot believe what they're watching. And the Chinese contingency in the crowd, Zhang Jike, Jayo. And some of the Polish crowd representing Europe cheering for Stefan out here as well. Positivity from both sides. The Polish crowd not afraid to defend the European player. And they've given him the power. Home court advantage. By continent, yes. By fans, it's tough to tell. The Chinese supporters very vocal here. Another match point, the second match point for FEGERL, and he has the advantage of serve. Oh, a huge shot. Zhang Jike to the short side of the table under pressure. Not a sound. Still focused. The sound all coming from the crowd right now. FEGERL's had several successful blocks from that backhand right into the body, but no chance to get to turn on that and counter with the forehand. Full commitment from Zhang Jike in the backhand court. Fourth deuce point in game 6. There it is, back edge of the table, but still a cross-court counter from FEGERL. Opening shot from Zhang Jike, and that's unfortunate for Zhang Jike. FEGERL's had a bit more luck this game, and it's a third match point. Cell phone cameras out in the crowd. There it is, he does it! Stefan FEGERL of Austria takes down Zhang Jike. This was the test. A huge test for Zhang Jike and for FEGERL as well. Unbelievable, 15-13 after a 17-15 game 1, and the crowd is ecstatic. European player from Austria, Stefan FEGERL, world rank number 42, takes down world rank number 4. Four-time world champion Zhang Jike here in the semifinals, and will be moving on. There will be a European representative in the finals. On the other side, it's Xu Xin and Fan Zhendong coming up for the next match. You do not want to miss it. But bravo to Stefan FEGERL, getting through Matthias Carlsen, getting through Marcos Freitas, and now Zhang Jike. Watch this guy's world ranking climb, and we'll see how he does in the finals, but now a chance to rest for just a little bit. Again, go back and watch the highlights from this match on ITTF.com/ITTV, and stick around for Xu Xin versus Fan Zhendong right after this. You're watching the Polish Open.